Ah, a Princeton man. You must know my son, Dickie.
Yes, I'm Tom Ripley, the protagonist of this film.
Could you conceive of going to Italy, Tom? Persuade my son to come home. I'd pay you $1,000.
Sounds like a plot hook. I'm in.
Deal. Everyone's got a talent, Tom. At least one. What's yours?
Forging signatures, telling lies, and impersonating practically anyone.
That's three. Anyway, give me one of your impressions.
Could you conceive of going to Italy and bringing back my son? I'll pay you $1,000.
That's uncanny. Have you met my dad?
What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa! I got a great son. He's in Italy. He's brilliant. He's so good.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be a guy who writes. Ever since I was a kid.
Okay. Yeah, I believe you, Tom.
Americano, Americano, whiskey and soda. Americano, Americano, whiskey and soda. Tom, you're incredibly boring.
I'm not boring.
Tom, I'm incredibly dead.
Ah, shit. Dang. I'm gonna steal your life now and become Dickie Greenleaf. Okay?
Welcome to our third film food pairings video. Today we're making tomato tart to go with the Talented Mr Ripley, sort of Mediterranean summery inspired dish in a pide shape, like a Turkish pie, in order for it to look a bit more like a boat. Here I'm making some roasted red pepper sauce, so there's onion, garlic, and the roasted red peppers going in now and cooking down for a little bit.
The boat shape is obviously due to that infamous scene in Talented Mr Ripley that we kind of tried to emulate in the intro. You may have noticed we switched characters. I'll let Jess explain why that is.
Well, I switched characters a couple times anyway, because I was both Dickie Greenleaf and Dickie Greenleaf's father, but I thought my levels of maturity were indicated well by my change in jacket. And then in the third scene, it was decided that you murdering me would probably just look a bit too grim and sinister, so we switched and I got to have a go at being Tom, as indicated by the glasses.
And the jacket.
And again, the jacket. Jackets are very important in films.
Right, so this is just some pre-rolled puff pastry here. You don't need to make your own. I think pretty much all chefs sort of say there's almost no point in making your own puff pastry because it's just a huge task and, you know, this store-bought stuff is fine. What I've done there is laid some out on the bottom and now I'm going around the edge and I'm going to make a double layer for ultimate puff. So layering up the sides to make a boat shape now.
And how are you sticking that down?
Oh, if you look on the left, there's an egg wash, just a beaten egg. And then I brush the whole thing with an egg wash. The egg wash makes it stick together, but it also gives it a nice shine. And here's an important thing. We don't want the centre to puff up too much. So in theory, poking it with a fork should help. But then I doubled down here and was very clever, as you'll see later on in the video, by adding a bunch of baking beads to hold it down even more. You can use rice and things like that as well if you want, if you don't have baking beads. However, as you'll see in a minute, I would suggest you don't bother because, as we'll see, Owen, take out the thing.
What's happened?
Yeah, that just didn't work.
Oh, never mind. It still didn't puff up too much in the middle, so that worked anyway. This is back to the sauce. So as you can see, I had a passata. I cooked it down for a good half an hour over sort of a low heat. I'm just adding some oregano right at the end, just to perk it up a little. And then because I added those roasted red pepper chunks, which I cut up, I put it in the blender to sort of smooth it out. You can either buy the roasted red peppers, or if you just stick a red pepper in a very hot oven, probably about 220, for around half an hour to 40 minutes until its skin's blackened, that will work. Then you just peel off the skin and chop up the flesh.
Might need to add some water as we did here.
Yeah, I added some water just to thin it down as I blended it a little because I'd kind of reduced it a little bit too much. And Owen spreads this on his boat. We didn't say, Owen, how long did you bake that for? Do you know?
Oh, that was just a part baking until it had started buffing up. You don't want to fully bake it because obviously you're going to stick it in the oven with the tomatoes on it to finish it off. So you can see it's still quite pale, but it's buffed up.
How hot's the oven? Do you remember?
I think 180.
Solid 180.
Your standard 180. Here.
I'm washing up in the background. Wash up as you go, guys.
And I am placing tomatoes and
Lots
of tomatoes. And you'll see me do something now where I get a toothpick and remove some of the tomatoes in strategic places.
Why are you removing strategic tomatoes?
Well, another part of the Tom Ripley film, Talented Mr Ripley, is obviously that he's an impersonator. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take these little mozzarella balls and we're going to turn them into tomato impersonators using a agar glaze. So here we just take some of the sauce that was on the bottom actually, and a nice bit of white wine as well to thin it out. And then, in a second, here's some agar powder. You could use gelatin. Gelatin sets a little firmer though, and sets glossy, which might not work for looking like a tomato. So just a little bit of agar powder. Agar also has the advantage of setting a lot higher temperature at like 60 degrees. So I do put it in the fridge, but probably didn't need to. It was probably fine to just cool it in room temperature because I think I did 3 glazes in the end. So it goes in the fridge for a bit. I just think it was in the fridge for maybe 5 minutes. And then a little more glaze. You might need to reheat. This is the other advantage of agar is that you can reheat it to remelt it, which doesn't work as well with gelatin. And then, just glaze the little mozzarella balls 3 times. That's the tart, and it looks pretty tasty to me.
How long was it in there for, do you know?
Until it was ready. There wasn't a strict timing as such.
Fair enough. It solidified quite well. One thing I would say is that we should definitely have done more of the mozzarella balls.
Yeah, because they were really tasty.
4 is not generous enough.
No.
And we were concerned they wouldn't really fit in, but as you can see, it kind of works, especially because we bought a mix of red and orange and yellow tomatoes.
Yeah.
So they kind of disguise themselves quite well amidst all of the tomatoes.
And so it's a sneaky little tasty treat. As you can see, like if you look now, you can't even tell which ones are the mozzarella balls. Tomato tart?
Yeah.
Who are you calling a tart?
What?
Who are you calling a Meg? I'm Jason Statham.
It's pretty good.
It's not what I do often, is it?
No, unfortunately not. Well, give me a bigger bit.
Yeah, but I gave myself the more perfect bit.
Oh, sneaky.
Oh my god, those do blend in so well.
They do.
Aren't they great?
They do. I actually poked it thinking it was tomato because I was like, how hot would it be?
Oh, cold.
And then was like, oh no, it's not hot at all. And then realised the reason why. Right.
Oh, it has actually melted a bit in the middle as well.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Is it good?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
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 Mm-hmm.